3.3, Dividing Polynomials, Remainder and Factor Theorems, Day 1 and 2. Your learning goal is that you will be able to use long division and synthetic division to divide polynomials. So we're going to review a concept that you did last year in Algebra 2. We're going to divide x squared plus 10x plus 21 by x plus 3. So we're going to do this the long way because it's called long division. So the term that you're dividing by goes outside your radical, which means this one goes inside or under your radical. And you're going to use this acronym: divide, multiply, change signs, and bring down. So when you divide, you're looking at, you're dividing x plus 3 actually this x into this x squared. So I think of it like multiplication. What do you have to multiply by x to get x squared, which will be x? And make sure you line everything up. So that's the dividing. Then you're going to multiply. You're going to do x times x, which is x squared, and you want to make sure everything's lined up, and x times 3, which is 3x. Then you're going to do what we call change the sign. So I'm going to subtract, basically. X squared minus x squared is 0. 10x minus 3x is 7x. Then you bring down the next term, and you start the process all over again. Now we're doing x into 7x. What do I have to multiply by x to get a 7x, which will be 7? Then you multiply again. 7 times x, 7x. 7 times 3, 21. And then you change the signs, or you subtract. 7 minus 7 is 0. 21 minus 21 is 0. So you have a remainder of 0. So when you write your answer is just x plus 7. So this was example 1A. Okay, example B. One thing that I failed to mention in the last example is you want to make sure that you have all your terms here. So if you notice, in my top I have an x to the 5th, an x to the 4th, an x cubed, and an x squared term, but I am missing an x, so I'm going to put a 0, and a constant. And then in my divisor, I have an x cubed term, but I am missing an x squared term, and I am missing an x term, but I have my constant. So when you get ready to set this up, yes, this is going to be long. You want to make sure you put in your I call them placeholders, so that everything lines up nicely. Because if you don't do this, it will mess up your answer. All right, we're going to use our acronym again. Divide, multiply, subtract, or change signs, and bring down. So remember, I'm going to do 2x cubed into 2x to the 5th. What do I have to multiply by 2x cubed to get a 2x to the 5th? Well, I would need an x squared. Because remember, when you're multiplying, you're actually adding the terms. So when you multiply, that was divide, you're going to multiply by each term in your divisor. So x squared times 2x cubed is 2x to the 5th. X squared times 0x squared is just 0x to the 4th. X squared times 0x is 0x cubed. x squared times 1 is x squared. And I know you're probably saying, well, why do we have to do that? That's to just keep everything lined up. So I did my multiplying. Now I'm ready to change the signs or subtract. This subtracts negative 8 minus 0 is still negative 8 x to the 4th. 2 minus 0 is still 2x cubed. X squared minus x squared, that gives us 0x squared. Then you bring down your next term. And the process starts all over again. So now I'm dividing 2x cubed into negative 8x to the 4th. So what do I have to multiply by 2x cubed to get negative 8x to the 4th? Well, I'm going to need a negative 4x. And then you multiply. Negative 4 times negative 2 is negative 8x to the 4th. Negative 4x times 0 is still negative 4x cubed. Negative 4x times 0x, 0 times anything is 0. And it doesn't matter if you put plus or minus. Negative 4x times 0x is still 0x squared. Negative 4x times 1 is negative 4x. All right, so I'm going to change my signs. So a negative 8 minus a negative 8 is gone. 2 minus 0 is still 2x cubed. This is still 0x squared. 0 minus negative 4 makes that plus 4x. And you bring down your next term. 2x cubed into 2x cubed gives us 1, because that's all I need. So now I'm going to multiply 1 times everything. So that'll give me 2x cubed plus 0 plus 0x plus 1. Then I change my signs. So this is gone. This is still 0x squared. This is 4x. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. All right, when you get to a point where you can't divide anymore, because 2 can't divide into 0, then you've had a remainder. So basically, 4x minus 1 is our remainder. So this is how you write it if you have a remainder. So you take your x squared minus 4x plus 1 plus your remainder over your divisor. And that's what we originally started with. You don't have to put the zeros. So that's how you write it if you don't get a remainder of 0. Okay, example 2, we're going to do a different process called synthetic division. And synthetic division works a little differently than long division. I lost my problem I was doing. X squared plus x minus 2 divided by x minus 1. So the first thing you want to do is find out your divisor. So you're going to set the x minus 1 equal to 0. So we're actually dividing by 1. So that goes in this little box. And then over here, you're going to use the coefficients. So 1, 1, negative 2. Make sure no terms are missing, because if there are, you're going to have to put a 0. So the way that this process works is you bring down the first coefficient, which was a 1. And this process involves multiplying and adding. So this number is the one that we are multiplying by, our multiplier. So 1 times 1 is 1, and that answer goes right under in the second column. And then you add these numbers. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then you do it again. 1 times 2 is 2. And then you add the column. Once you get to the last column, this is your remainder. So we have a remainder of 0. The way that you write your answer, you're going to put your variables back, because remember we took them off to do our coefficients. But we lose a degree because we started off with a degree of 2. So this will be 1x plus 2 with no remainder, or you can write it as x plus 2. All right, let's try a harder one. B, x to the 7th plus x to the 5th minus 10x cubed plus 12, and we're going to divide it by x plus 2. So over here, I'm going to do x plus 2 equals 0, so I'm actually dividing by negative 2. So I'll put that in my little box, and then I use my coefficients. Notice I have a lot of terms missing. So over here, if you want, you can rewrite this so you'll know which terms are missing. So I'm missing the x to the 6th, I'm missing an x to the 4th, I'm missing an x squared, I'm missing an x, but I have my constant. So when you write your coefficients, you're doing it off the one with the 0 placeholders. 1, 0, 1, 0, negative 10, 0, 0, and 12. All right, remember the process involves bringing down the first number. Then you're going to do negative 2 times 1. That goes in the second column. And then you add those two numbers. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. And then you add those numbers. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. And then you add going down. Negative 2 times negative 10 is 20. Add going down. Negative 2 times 10 is negative 20. Add going down. Negative 2 times negative 20 is 40. Add going down. 40 times negative 2 is negative 80. Add going down. So this is our remainder. All right, then you write your answer as, remember we start off with a degree of 7. So now it's going to be degree of 6. So 1x to the 6th minus 2x to the 5th plus 5x to the 4th minus 10x cubed plus 10x squared minus 20x plus 40. Then you have your remainder. You could do plus a negative, or you could do minus 68 over x plus 2. Remainder over divisor. And that's your answer.